The current Israeli government has stirred plenty of controversy with some of the laws it has passed or is trying to pass. But now it has also sparked an uproar over a law that it did not pass. Now, that bill is one that would compel violent domestic offenders to wear an electronic monitoring bracelet or tag in order to make it easier for authorities to enforce restraining orders placed against them. Now, the bill seemed headed for passage last week until the National Security Minister Itamar Gvir stepped in to block its passage. Now, that set off a firestorm of criticism, which Gvir responded to today with a Facebook post defending the move, saying at one point, quote, "I have requested a number of changes be made in the law as proposed because according to what was presented to me, in addition to the restrictions put in place around the women's home, the abuser will receive a message if his partner is in the vicinity. And this is a dangerous situation since we have no idea what he will do when he receives exact intelligence information about the woman's whereabouts. Also, according to the law, any accusation can automatically put a man in handcuffs, which would hurt those men who are the victim of false accusations." In the meantime, though, 8 women have been killed by men they know just this year. The most recent just Friday, when Edisi Elbena was stabbed to death by her abusive partner. Well, joining us for more is Lily Ben-Ami. She is the founder of CEO of the Michal Sela Forum. She speaks to us from Beit Zayit. We should mention Michal Sela was Lily's sister who was murdered by her husband in 2019. Lily, thank you for joining us. Before we get to the fact that the law was stopped and the reasons why, or supposedly why is such a law needed now in Israel?
This law we're talking about is a governmental law. The experts from the Ministry of Interior Defense worked and wrote this law for several years. And in the last Knesset, it passed in first call, right and left. Everybody voted for this law. All the bodies that work with domestic violence victims are in favor of the law, whether it's the police, the welfare authorities, the shelters. Everyone is for the law. There was pilots with the police. There were high-rank officers who went to oversee to other countries to check this law. It's not something that was made fast. It's a law that everyone, after it was checked, it's a life-saving law. I'm holding this bracelet. It's rubber bracelet. And I just heard you reading what the minister wrote, and he has his information is wrong. This simple instrument that uses GPS technology doesn't tell the attacker where his victim is, and it doesn't tell the opposite. All it does is help the police enforce what judge already decided, the restraining order, and it helps the victim to feel safe at her home. Today, when there is a restraining order, the victim cannot know if the attacker is under her window waiting for her. This will give her safety. This will give her freedom. I can tell you because I work with those women, those threatened women. And after last week, this bill was, it didn't pass in the Knesset. One of those women called me crying. She said, "I thought finally I could get out of this shelter I'm in."
Right. Let me ask you, you said Minister Gvir has mischaracterized the bill. I understand you did meet with him, I guess as the head of the Michal Sela Forum, in discussions about this law. Could you tell us about your conversation with him? What were these points raised?
2 weeks ago, he invited me and another 3 organizations to meet with him to talk about the law of the bracelet. And we showed him the information, the data we collected for many years from the field working with domestic violence victims. He also invited another 4 organizations that are against the law. those organizations that are against the law doesn't work with domestic violence victims. They talk about innocent people, innocent men that will have to have this, although they didn't do anything. And this is wrong opinion, because this thing only a judge can give, not the police. The police cannot put this on a person, only a judge, and the law says not in any case, only in very specific cases where the judge is sure there is a big danger to the woman, to the children, to the, actually the law is not, doesn't talk about men or women. This can be on a man or on a woman, but if there is a threatened party and the judge saw information that made him believe that there is a big danger to the victim because there was previous conviction, or because in the past this person didn't obey another restraining order, only then the judge can put this as an addition to the restraining order. I mean, this thing, it's not something new. You put to
Right.
attackers, because restraining order, it's something old. They use it many years. This only what this do is to help the police keep the law. This is technology instead of a piece of paper. What is better to save a life of a threatened woman, a piece of paper?
Lily,
or technology?
let me ask you, in that Facebook post, and of course I only read a small part of it, the Minister Gvir repeatedly says his concern is for women, and that is why he's delaying it. He wants a better law, a more complete law, etc. What do you think his motivation is for stopping a law that did have apparently previous to his opposition enough support in Parliament and Knesset to pass?
Look, I'm sure he wants. I'm sure he believe what he's saying, that he really care for women and children, and he wants us to be safe. What is hard for me is that all the experts show the same answer. This thing is working and it's saving lives. And the fact that he chooses to hear other voices that don't work with the victims, and they are afraid of, false fears. It's not simple to me, and I always say we shouldn't take this struggle to politics. There is no right or left in this issue. There is no opposition and coalition. We are all together against domestic violence. Everybody voted for it.
Right.
All the parties was for this law.
Are you hearing even privately from some members of Parliament, Knesset, especially women, maybe saying that they're upset about it, even maybe some members of the coalition?
Yes. I talked to a member of Likud party and a member of the Knesset. He told me that they wanted to vote for this law of the bracelet, and that they were forced to vote against because their coalition would break. So they had no choice. For me, it was very hard to hear, because this week I was invited to the Knesset, to the committee of Tzvika Fogel. He's the chairperson of the Committee for Interior Defense. And in this committee, it was very hard for me. There was this woman, Haredi, ultra-Orthodox, and she told her story, how she went to shelters and how this thing can help her and her children. And I was crying in this debate in the Knesset. And also Tzvika Fogel, he's from Itamar Gvir party, and he also said, "You're right. I'm going to vote for this law. I'm going to promote this law." And he promised us. Right. And then a few days after, the Knesset voted against. And it's so hard. They keep inviting us to come to those committees. We write papers. We talk on the media. And then you see the bill doesn't pass. And you know what? I say, if you don't believe in this, show me something else you do for those women. We had three women that were murdered that past week. 3 women that were murdered by their husband in their living room with a hammer, with a knife. in the most safest place, our home. You know, our home is our most safest place. My sister was murdered in her own home by her husband. He's the first person that's supposed to make you safe, and he did it. So we need the state to put those technology, those solutions to make us feel safe at home. And when I see the situation today, only voting against, and there is nothing instead, you know, there is no other laws they promote. It makes me feel very, very hard.
All right, well, we'll have to see what develops here. Lily Ben-Ami of the Michal Seller Forum, thank you for joining us on I-24 News.
Thank you so much.